Let's dig deep into politics, shall we? American goes to the polls 2 weeks from Tuesday. Brand new polling following the final debate, painting a mixed picture. The latest ABC News national poll shows Hillary Clinton with a 12-point lead over Trump in a four-way race, if you include Gary Johnson, Jill Stein there. But look at this. A tracking poll from Investors Business Daily, IBD, actually shows Trump on top of Clinton by 2 points. We should point out this poll appears to be an outlier compared with other national polls, but there are some that show a tightening. So we've got them kind of all over the spectrum. Let's bring in our Fox News political insiders, Pat Caddell, strategic advisor to President Jimmy Carter and a Fox News contributor. Doug Schoen, former strategic advisor to President Bill Clinton and 6 years in the White House, now a Fox News contributor as well. And John LeBoutelier, a former director for President Ford and the '76 campaign and former Republican congressman from New York. Good to see all of you. So, Doug, I want to start with you.
Good to see you. Sure.
Obviously, your past with the Clintons coming into play here, but also what you see on the horizon.
Sure. Look, what I see when I look at the state polls underlying the national numbers is a consistent lead for the Secretary of State in virtually every swing state. 13 of 14, she's ahead. And the playing field has widened to include Texas, Arizona, even Georgia. So as I see it, and I've said before, this is Secretary Clinton's race, and I can tell you her team internally and externally are very, very confident, increasingly so after the last debate.
All right, and hence why they call him a friend. I would imagine the Clintons, right, John? I didn't expect anything else, but I am curious to know how this early voting is going to play, because we're seeing some mixed results back and forth here.
Well, you know what? I think, and Pat's going to have a different opinion, but I think the behavior of the two campaigns in the last 2 weeks indicates the Clinton people are very confident. Not overconfident, but very confident that things are going their way. And the Trump campaign has the stench of defeat in parts of it. You have the national political director left the campaign last week with 3 weeks to go. Who leaves a winning campaign with 3 weeks to go? They don't. And Trump himself on the stump is now mentioning, well, the possibility of losing from the guy that never talked about losing before.
Pat, I do want to go to you because I know all along as we have been going up, you said that there is a contingent of votership out there that will look beyond all of the scandals, that will look beyond everything and will go for the outsider no matter what. And we may not have talked with that person in the polling. You're an expert in polling. Talk to me about that.
Well, I think, first of all, we need to understand the polls are everywhere. The Washington Post poll last week was 4 points. If you believe that the race changed 8 more points in her direction this last week, then I don't know what event you're looking at beyond what I've seen that would indicate that or any other polls. You have 3 tracking polls, not only the daily tracking polls, not only Investors Daily, which was the best for several cycles. You also have Rasmussen and the LA Times. All of those show the race, Trump ahead by a point or even. You have but most importantly, we've got a lot of people in float. I saw some stuff on the Morning Consult poll this last week. 22% of the voters were either undecided or for other candidates. There are a bunch of voters who don't like either candidate, who are quite movable in there as well as the undecideds. And what I'm afraid of is what we're seeing is the one-off polling may have problems. The Washington Post poll, for example, had a 9-point Democratic Party edge. Any poll with a 9-point party edge for the Democrats ought to be thrown out, because I will tell you this, if it's 9 points, then there will be no Republicans left standing pretty much after election night. This country is not moving that way. I've never seen the polls in such contradictory numbers. Hillary Clinton is clearly ahead, but it is volatile right now, and this, as you said, it is a moment for outsiders. If Trump could get his message around something other than himself.
So we know this, and we've been saying it, the three of us, to you, Harris. The outsider is the dominant factor this year.
Can I get this one thing in for our viewer, because I want to get your thought on this. Lee writes, she's waiting for the mainstream media to start reporting on Hillary Clinton's many questionable acts. I mean, we had another dump from WikiLeaks.
Right. Well, she can keep waiting. It isn't going to happen.
But will we hear it from Donald Trump?
Well, hold on, Doug. I want to get this point in. Sure. On this outsider thing, Trump goes to Gettysburg yesterday and touts, I'm going to say what I'm going to do for my first 100 days. What was the headline coming out of yesterday? Trump threatens to sue all the women that are accusing him of sexual abuse.
But isn't that part of the mainstream
But
media
why did he
reaching?
say it? Why is he saying
Okay.
that in his speech, which he's supposed to be talking about? I'm going to change the country, and here's what I'll do in my first 100 days. Oh,
You
by
know,
the way,
what-
I'm
So
going
you
to
don't
sue
put
these
any
women.
of that on the mainstream media. I'm just curious to know from
The
you.
media is a disaster, but as a Republican, you know they're going to be a disaster. Message discipline. You only talk about what you want to talk about.
All right. Doug, we'll come
Harris,
back to
John
you
is-
first. We got to hit a commercial.